a little cheeky Sauvignon vlog just now, just a pre-filming. Be cooking up a Greek Cypriot recipe today. You know, I will be editing out all arguments, which I normally do.
Today we're going to be reviewing a Spanish wine for a change, Campo Viejo Rioja White. The wines in the grapes in this wine are Viura and Tempranillo Blanco.
You don't know?
No, there is a yes and no to that.
Right. So, what made you choose this? Only time will tell when we taste. Right, let's get on to what we're having to eat.
As you said, a Cypriot meal today, a Yachni as they call it in Cyprus, some sliced onion, we have some potatoes here. This is a Cypriot thing of, if you put lemon juice in the potato, it stops them from breaking up in the casserole. Frozen green beans for the dish, because I've been eating them.
Are you trying to say about my cookies? Are you trying to say my cookies are ugly? I'm not editing this out.
This is the first argument.
He used to go to his dad's restaurant for lunch and have steak. Round. Tomato puree, so that's just going in there. That's the frozen beans going in now as well, just so they get coated with all the flavours as well. So I've taken over because Rico and I were disagreeing. You're awful close to me, Rico.
Oh, sorry.
Once the chops go in, there's hardly going to be any space to move anything about. So once the chops go in, the water goes in, the rest of the tomatoes go in. There you go, Rico. You can take over now. So just all the juices from the meat are just going in now that came off the meat. Some salt. Just putting in some stock cubes for flavour. I've just got one chicken and one vegetable stock cube here. And then just cover with water. So that's it there. Just gonna bring it to the boil and then just let it simmer. Okay, that's it, ready, and it smells absolutely perfect.
Let me wipe it. It's got a nice citrusy finish.
Oh my goodness.
Anybody ever tell you it's bad manners to speak with your mouth full?
Always.
I didn't say it wasn't nice. I liked the taste of the wine, but what I said, I don't
Easy
think,
drinking?
yes, that's what I said. I didn't get any spice from it.
Hello and welcome to my channel. I'm Andri. Cheers! I'm having a little cheeky Sauvignon vlog just now, just a pre-filming. So today we are reviewing another wine and Rico will be telling us all about the wine, and we will also be cooking up a Greek Cypriot recipe today. Now this is the kind of cooking that I would normally do, and it's the kind of cooking that I was brought up with. These are the kind of foods, very traditional Greek Cypriot foods. But for the purpose of this video, Rico will be doing it with my kind of input. You know, I will be editing out all arguments, which I normally do. Don't I, Rico?
We don't argue.
We argue all the time. Anyway, let's discuss the wine and then the food. Cheers!
Well, hello again, and we're back with another wine review, as Andri said. Today we're going to be reviewing a Spanish wine for a change, and the one I've chosen today is Campo Viejo Rioja White. Most of you associate Rioja with red wines as that's what Spain is famous for, but in recent years, in the past maybe 10 years, white Riojas have become very popular. Now, Campo Viejo is one of the big wineries in the Rioja region, and the Rioja region itself, of course, is in the north of Spain, sitting between Bilbao, which is on the coast, the Atlantic coast, and Zaragoza. The wines in the grapes in this wine are Viura and Tempranillo Blanco. Viura is traditionally a grape of Spain. It's called Carambel in all of Spain and in the south of France, but in the Rioja region they call it Viura. Now the wine is 75% Viura and 25% Tempranillo Blanco.
So it's a blend?
It's a blend of 2 grapes, yeah.
Right, okay. Is Rioja always a blend then? What's Rioja? Is Rioja the grape, or is Rioja?
No, Rioja's the region.
Oh, right.
Rioja's a region.
Right, okay.
And normally the Crianza, I think, is a grape, and Tempranillo are the grapes that goes into red Riojas.
Right,
There'll be a Tempranillo red, not this is a Tempranillo, a white Tempranillo grape.
I remember customers of ours always saying in the restaurant that you know, Rioja's so expensive over here, yet in Spain it's quite a cheap wine. Is that correct? Inexpensive wine.
Yeah, well,
you don't know.
No, there is a yes and no to that. There are several, going away from this white wine and going into some of the reds, the Riojas, what we associate with the region. There are several levels of Rioja. There are the entry levels, and then you go into the Reservas, and then you go into Grand Reservas. And the Grand Reservas can be very expensive, yes, but a lot of that's justified in the making of the wine. The wine is 12.5% volume. It's got a cork, which I know some of you prefer, and we're going to have it with this lamb dish today.
Today when we were discussing it, you said we should really be having red.
Yes.
Now, I'm a great believer in you should have whatever takes your fancy and not have red because you're having meat and having white because you're having fish, blah, blah, blah. So, what made you choose this?
I think the wine itself, I read about the grape and the Viura grape, and the Viura grape apparently has a bit of pepper in it. They say that you can sort of get a hint of pepper when you smell it, and it gives it a wee bit of a spice to the wine. Although the wine is classified as light and refreshing, there's a slight spice in it. So I thought the spice in the wine, if we can taste that spice, would complement the food. And
only time will tell when we taste. Right, let's get on to what we're having. So these are our ingredients.
Yep, I've got some lamb leg chops, GIGOT chops, some sliced onion, a wee bit of garlic through it as well. We have some potatoes here, which we put lemon juice on. This is a Cypriot thing of, if you put lemon juice on the potato, it stops them from breaking up in the casserole.
Because they'll be stewing away in the casserole for a while.
We've also got some green beans here, which we bought, frozen green beans for the dish.
For ease today, you can use fresh. In Cyprus they would more than likely use fresh. We've just for ease today, we've just got some frozen green whole beans.
Yep. You can use other vegetables as well.
That's right.
You could use cauliflower, you could use lady's fingers, peas, anything you really wanted.
This is a very traditional sauce for making casseroles in Cyprus, which we call Yachni, and it's basically just use any vegetable to cook up a dish.
We've got some chopped tomatoes and tomato puree,
which is the basis of the sauce.
Yes, and our usual seasoning, some salt and pepper,
oil for frying.
All for frying, and we've got some stock to add a bit of flavour to it.
Which is optional. My mum always added kind of stock to these kind of sauces, so we tend to do that as well. I've decided just to add potatoes, just to make it kind of, to bulk it up. So it's not, you're not just eating vegetables basically and meat, so it's like a whole meal in a pot. Just here we have a soup going on just now.
What I'm going to do, I'm going to fry each, the onion, the chops and the potatoes separately, because we're making quite a lot. If you were only making maybe 2 or 3 pieces or less, or half of this amount of meat, then you could possibly get away with frying it all at the same time.
Right.
I'm going to fry them individually and then add them back into the pot together.
So you're just browning, you're going to brown the chops, you're going to soften the onions, just saute the potatoes slightly.
Yes. And then put them all back in and start making the dish.
So it's basically a casserole.
Correct.
Casserole, tomato-based casserole. I also made some homemade bread today, because when you have kind of these saucy meals, it's lovely to dip in your bread. And then as I was baking, I decided to make some cookies as well. So yeah, we've certainly been at it today.
I can add to that the cookies may not look the best, but they are fantastic because I've been eating them.
What are you trying to say about my cookies? Are you trying to say my cookies are ugly? I'm not editing this out.
Is this the first argument?
By the way, this is not getting edited out. This is what I normally edit. You're trying to say my cookies are ugly?
Well, some of them are a bit ugly. I have to be honest, some of them are a bit ugly.
Never judge a book by its cover.
Correct.
Well,
I did say they were yummy. I did say they were yummy. Crispy on the outside and gooey in the middle.
That's how cookies are
supposed to be. And the bite-sized chocolate is brilliant as well.
They may not look the best. Seriously, they may not look the best. Rioja's going in there, they may not look the best. Right, I'm going to tell him now how to cook this.
Right.
I was brought up on this type of food. Rico was brought up on steaks. He used to go to his dad's restaurant for lunch and have steaks and that kind of thing.
This is when I was at school.
See, me, I was brought up on casserole. So it's just heating the oil now, just to brown the chops.
Yep.
And you can use chicken, you can use lamb, you can use pork, just whatever you prefer. Or you don't have to use meat at all. We are actually using olive oil. Basically, you're just going to do all the chops like that.
Yep.
Until they're all browned.
Yep. I'm going to put the chops in first. I want to bring the chops in to get the flavours
in the pan. Yeah.
In the pan of the meat.
That's the last two going in now. Get them all browned. That's the last ones now just being turned. And what Rico does just to stop the chops from curling up is he cuts the fat, don't you?
Just at the sinew end near the bone.
And that stops them from curling up. I'm just going to add a wee bit more olive oil to the pot. Just heating up the oil. And then all the flavours from the chops are still in that pot. Just added the onions and
give them a quick stir.
Just coating them with the olive oil.
Bring the potatoes in as well.
Just throw in the potatoes. Just tomato puree, just being, you like to kind of fry up your
absolutely
tomato puree, so that's just going in now, and that just adds the intense flavour. That's what tomato puree does. It's an intense flavour of tomatoes because we're going to be adding a lot of water to this dish. In fact, we're just going to add enough water to cover the whole dish. Frying that up quickly. That's the frozen beans going in now as well, just so they get coated with all the flavours as well. So I've taken over because Rico and I were disagreeing. You're awful close to me, Rico.
Oh, sorry.
So I've taken over because he didn't want to add the beans and I want to add the beans just to get everything, all the flavours into the beans, because once the chops go in, there's hardly going to be any space to move anything about. So once the chops go in, the water goes in, the rest of the tomatoes go in, then we're just basically going to leave it to simmer and for the sauce to thicken, because these kind of casserole type dishes, they really need to soak in the flavours. They need the time to soak in the flavours. So I took over because he wasn't for putting the beans in and I wanted to put them in. So yeah, there you go, Rico. You can take over now. Too many cooks spoil the broth. Is that the saying?
That's right, and that's what's in their broth.
Yeah. Put in the chops.
Okay.
Just adding everything in now. So just all the juices from the meat are just going in now that came off the meat. Just gonna add the tinned tomatoes. There we go. Just seasoning casserole now with salt and pepper. Just the pepper going in, some salt. Just putting in some stock cubes for flavour. I've just got one chicken and one vegetable stock cube here. All this adds flavour. Quick stir just to get everything through. Just going to add some mixed herbs. So then just water to cover.
Okay.
So that's it there. Just going to bring it to the boil and then just let it simmer. And that's our yachni ready. Okay, that's it ready, and it smells absolutely perfect. So in my day it would have been in a bowl with a whole load of juice to dip in, but of course Rico, being the restaurateur, has to try and make it look okay. So he's plated, and I've said to him he has to put more juice because you need loads of juice to dip your bread in. That's it.
Okay.
So this just doesn't feel right for Rico, but this is what it's supposed to look like.
So it's got a natural cork. With the winery's name on the cork. So. I get it's first impression, it looks quite a light wine. I get floral notes to the nose. I certainly don't smell any pepper or anything like that. It's got a nice citrusy finish. Leaves a pleasant taste in your mouth. Not sure if it's a perfect accompaniment to this meal, but it will have to do. After you.
As you know, I like to taste first.
I didn't taste.
See, you're so interested in the wine, you just forget to taste your food. I'm a foodie. I enjoy my food, so. Oh. See, traditional food. Just. And then homemade bread. And you just dip into the juices. Never knew. Oh my goodness.
Anybody ever tell you it's bad manners to speak with your mouth full?
Always. And then of course the best part is when you do finish off it and you just clean your plate with the bread. Amazing. Okay, I don't have high expectations because of what you just said.
I didn't say it wasn't nice. I liked the taste of the wine. But what I said... I don't
Easy
think,
drinking?
Yes, that's what I said. I didn't get any spice from it. Put it that way.
No, it's nice. I think it does go well with this.
Well, good.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Bon appétit.